Well, for further analysis, we are joined by Ciaran Browne. He is an assistant professor of conflict resolution and reconciliation at Trinity College. Professor, thank you for your time. I would like to ask you the question, do you think Israel is capitalizing on the ceasefire by targeting Palestinians outside Gaza?
Well, thanks as always for asking me to join you. Yeah, it certainly looks that way. But I mean, we have to always remember that Israel hasn't stopped its process of ethnic cleansing in the West Bank. Israel hasn't stopped processes of settler expansion. Israel hasn't stopped disrupting, monitoring, restricting the movement of Palestinian lives. This is part of the same process. It's been doing this for decades. Certainly, it looks like it has escalated some of its activities, and you see in the images out of Jenin, these are truly disgraceful actions. So yeah, it seems that with everybody's sort of gaze maybe slightly being focused on making sure that, I'd be careful with how I use the term ceasefire in Gaza, but certainly making sure that the situation there gets some kind of respite. People maybe are dropping the ball a little bit, but this has been going on all the way through the last year and a half as well in the West Bank. So I'm not that surprised to see that. And when we're looking at this, we need to also look at the role that the Palestinian Authority is playing in all of this, and in facilitating and allowing people in Jenin to be subjected to these assaults.
Yes, the Palestinian Authority has been involved, hasn't it? The talks of the ceasefire's second phase began this week in Egypt, I understand, 2 weeks earlier than scheduled. I believe it was meant to start on February 4th. But Israel's finance minister, Bezalel Smotrich, is threatening to leave the coalition. And reports are he said, quote, "I will overthrow the government if it does not return to fighting in a way that leads to us taking over the entire Gaza and governing it." I mean, you can't get any clearer than that about Israel's possible intentions, and now with the assistance of the Palestinian Authority.
Yeah, and that has been the issue here for the Israeli government. When you're in bed with these far right extremist persons, these groups, they're going to make these demands. But again, look, it's been the policy of the Israeli government to squash any form of resistance in Gaza, to try and dislocate Palestinians and fragment them from their land. So, I mean, yes, well, it remains to be seen what way the Netanyahu government can survive or not when it comes to this next phase of negotiations. And it's really, really important, therefore, that when the time comes and when democracy supposedly kicks in, I would like to see the Israeli public stand up and vote these people out of government, because at the end of the day, it's the Israeli public that have voted for these parties and allowed these parties to hold these positions. So it's up to the Israeli public, therefore, to say, we don't want to live like this. We don't want to live in a permanent state of war. We do not want to live always alongside our Palestinian colleagues and friends and be engaged in this type of disgraceful and wanton destruction. So, I mean, it remains to be seen what way Smotrich will go. I dare say there will be a lot of concessions made. I dare say there will be a lot of things put in front of the party to try and appease them from doing so.
Professor, many people aren't really clear about the US president's objectives in Israel. He's lifted sanctions on Israeli settlers, but supports a ceasefire, supposedly. What do you get from his actions of late?
Well, I mean, anybody that tries to make predictions about Donald Trump is a braver person than I. At the end of the day, it seems to me that there is a wait and see moment happening here as well. People are apprehensive to see what happens in this current change of leadership in America. But again, let's not put too much stock in all of this. At the end of the day, under Trump and under his previous tenure, he was responsible for moving the Israeli embassy into Jerusalem. He was responsible for annexing the Golan Heights. He was responsible for overseeing settlement expansion. He was overseeing normalization with other Arab states as well. And again, look, it's not just Donald Trump that needs to hold the opprobrium here. At the end of the day, this genocide that we have witnessed playing out on our screens for the last 16 months was done under the watchful gaze of the Democratic Party in America. This is a Joe Biden-sponsored genocide or attempted genocide of the Palestinian people. So at the end of the day, there's plenty of opprobrium to throw around. There's plenty of blame to be given. So let's see what happens next. I mean, nobody wants to make these predictions, but we look for strong leadership from all sides.
I appreciate speaking with you, Professor, and I invite everyone looking on to follow Professor Ciaran Browne on Twitter, on X rather, to follow his perspective. Thanks again.
Thank you.